Part 1. The Left Turn. I know this sounds impossible. I wouldn't believe it either if I wasn't still here, writing this from a borrowed phone that somehow posts to Reddit but won't let me make a call. If this post disappears or stops updating, don't think I bailed. Just assume I finally gave in and became one of them. It started like 100 other road trip stories. There were 5 of us. Me, Jake, Mia, my ex, still weirdly close, Marcus, loud, funny, bit of a conspiracy nut, Sam, quiet, smart, huge into maps, and Lauren, Mia's best friend, always kind of distant. We were driving cross-country after graduation, making our way through the Southwest. The kind of trip you take before life sinks its teeth in. We left Tucson on a Tuesday, planning to make it to Carlsbad Caverns by nightfall. Around noon, somewhere outside Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, the heat was brutal. Lauren was getting carsick. Marcus wouldn't stop singing along to 80s metal, and our GPS kept rerouting us due to construction. We stopped at this sun-bleached gas station off Highway 62. Place looked dead except for one old soda machine and a mangy dog lying under a rusted pickup. Inside, the air smelled like old oil and burned coffee. That's where we met him. The gas station clerk. Gray beard. One eye milky white. Looked like he'd been carved out of the desert itself. When Marcus asked if there were any back roads worth seeing, the guy barely blinked. "Don't take the left at mile marker 237, he said. "It ain't on the map for a reason." Sam, being Sam, immediately searched it. There it was, a narrow road that branched off toward a speck labeled Bristow. "We should go," Marcus grinned. "I bet it's one of those old mining towns. Maybe even haunted." I wasn't so sure. Mia looked nervous, too. But Lauren just muttered, "It's not like we have a better plan." So we turned left. The road was narrow, broken in places, flanked by dry brush and rusted fences. No cell signal. The air felt heavier the deeper we drove, like the sun was pressing down harder, the silence swallowing our voices. 20 minutes in, we saw the sign. "Welcome to Bristow. Population, infinity." The sign looked freshly painted, too fresh for a place that wasn't even on most maps. Beyond it, an old town square, a row of brick buildings, a clock tower with no hands. Nothing moved. No cars, no people. Just the sound of our tires crunching on gravel and a distant wind that never touched our skin. We parked. Stepped out. The air smelled like paper and rust. Sam started taking pictures. Marcus walked toward the diner like he owned the place. "This is amazing," he said. Like a time capsule. None of us noticed the gas station clerk's truck parked behind the town hall. We never saw him again. Part 2. The Loops. It was Mia who noticed it first. We tried to leave that same day. We got back in the car and took the only road out the way we came. The tires crunched through gravel, then sand, then pavement again. 15 minutes passed, then 20, but the desert never changed. It was like driving through a screensaver. And then, we passed the sign again. "Welcome to Bristow. Population, infinity." We stared in stunned silence. Sam checked his compass. It spun like it was caught in a whirlpool. "GPS is dead," he muttered. "Even offline maps aren't loading." We tried other roads. Smaller dirt paths, alleys that curved into valleys. All of them brought us back. One took us to a hill overlooking the town. We could see Bristow below us, distant and serene. Then, 10 steps later, we were back on Main Street, next to the drugstore. We split up. Lauren and Marcus took the west road. Mia and I took the east. Sam stayed behind to draw a crude map. 30 minutes later, we all returned. Not because we wanted to, because we could not return. Lauren looked pale. She swore she saw herself standing in front of the post office, watching them from a distance. It was me, she kept saying. Same clothes, same face, but her eyes were wrong. Inside the town, everything repeated. The diner always had 2 fresh pies in the window. The church bell chimed on the hour, though none of us could find a clock that worked. The mannequins in the dress shop changed positions every time we looked away. People began to appear. A woman in a blue dress swept the porch of the inn. A mailman walked the route, but never delivered anything. They nodded, smiled, but never spoke. They walked the same paths over and over, like actors stuck in a loop. We confronted one. Marcus stepped in front of the woman in the blue dress. She blinked once, then tilted her head. Slowly, like a machine rebooting. "Bristow welcomes you," she said in a flat, practiced voice. "Have you enjoyed your stay?" Then she resumed sweeping. We spent the night in the inn. No power, no noise. In the middle of the night, the lights flickered on for 5 seconds. Just long enough to see our reflections in the mirrors. There were 6 of us. None of us slept. Part 3. The Changes. We woke up to birdsong. That might not sound strange, but trust me, it was. There hadn't been birds in Bristow the day before, or bugs, or animals of any kind, not even wine through the trees, just the eerie stillness of a town frozen in amber. But that morning, birds were chirping from the trees lining Main Street, cheerful and too loud. It felt fake, like someone had turned on a soundtrack to convince us things were normal. Mia stood by the window of our shared room in the inn, staring out with bloodshot eyes. She didn't speak. None of us had slept much since the loop started. I don't think any of us trusted sleep anymore. Too many things changed when our eyes were closed. Sam was already up, sketching new additions to the town from memory in his journal. He'd taken to charting the inconsistencies, the architectural shifts, anything that changed overnight. That morning, he noted 2 new houses on the edge of town. Ones none of us had seen before. Both had chimneys that puffed white smoke into a sky that never changed. "They weren't here yesterday," he muttered. "Look at the style. Too modern." Marcus had been unusually quiet since our last failed escape attempt. He didn't even crack a joke when Sam mentioned the houses. He just sipped instant coffee from a chipped mug and stared into the steam. That was the day the changes started becoming personal. We left the inn around noon, hoping to find Lauren. She'd stormed off after breakfast, pissed at all of us. She said the town was getting to us, making us paranoid, and maybe she was right. We were all on edge. We turned on each other more than once, accusing someone of lying about directions or moving things that no one remembered touching. But this wasn't that. We found Lauren standing perfectly still in the middle of the schoolyard, staring at the jungle gym. She didn't move when we called out, just turned slowly, her eyes unfocused, like she was listening to something only she could hear. "I had a dream," she said finally. "I was here, on the swings. Except I was a child. My mother was watching me, but it wasn't my real mother. She had no face." Marcus reached out to touch her arm, but she flinched. "I think it's inside us now," she whispered. "This town, it's learning us." Back in town, things were wrong. The diner had new wallpaper. An old man in overalls, someone we'd never seen before, was polishing a fire hydrant that hadn't existed yesterday. He nodded at us like we were old friends. "Morning, Jake," he said, smiling. "Glad you stayed." I didn't answer. We tried to take pictures, to document the shifting reality, but Mia's phone camera just showed static. Sam's pictures from the previous day were gone. Every single photo now showed the same image, a black and white photo of the 5 of us standing in front of the Bristow post office, all smiling. The date said July 17th, 1973. That wasn't possible. "I think the town is replacing us," Sam said quietly. "Not killing, rewriting." Around sunset, Marcus snapped. He'd been tense all day, twitching at small sounds, rubbing his arms like something was crawling under his skin. They changed my tattoo, he said, pulling up his sleeve. It was a phoenix. Now it's a compass. A broken compass. None of us knew what to say. That night, we decided to split shifts for watch. I took the first one, sitting on the creaky porch of the inn while the town blinked in and out of existence around me. One moment there were lights in every house. The next, everything was dark again. I thought I saw movement in the church steeple. Just for a moment, a silhouette watching me. When I woke Sam for his shift, he was shaking. I had the dream, he said. The one Lauren talked about. But I wasn't a kid. I was something else. Tall. Pale. I wasn't looking at the town. I was the town. I don't know how long we've been here now. But I know this. Bristow is changing. Morphing. Learning. And we're running out of things to forget. Part 4. Echoes. By the time the fourth day started, if you can even call it a day anymore, we stopped trusting sound. There was a moment right after sunrise when the streets were washed in orange light and we dared to believe things might be normal. We were wrong. Mia and I were outside the diner, sharing a stale cinnamon roll from the counter. Everything smelled too clean, too perfect, like air freshener masking rot. Then we heard Marcus shouting from the churchyard. We ran. He was screaming, waving his arms at the bell tower. Do you hear it? Listen. It's my voice. And it was. Up in the tower, just under the broken bell, a speaker was embedded in the wood, something none of us had seen before. It crackled, then repeated Marcus's voice. I think the town is replacing us. Not killing. Rewriting. Word for word, exactly what he'd said the day before. Mia dropped the roll. It's recording us. Later, we noticed it wasn't just voices. The town was echoing actions, too. Sam walked past the general store and saw himself inside, browsing non-existent shelves. The copy didn't look out. It just mimicked his movements half a second behind. Like a glitch in a game. Reflections don't lag, Sam muttered, face pale. By noon, there were 6 of us again. We were walking past the library when we saw Lauren. Not our Lauren. This one was dressed in the same clothes she wore when we arrived, but they looked older. Faded. Dusty. Her hair was tied back differently. She didn't look surprised to see us. You need to stop walking in circles, she said, calmly. That's how they map you. Lauren, Mia asked, stepping forward. The copy smiled. But it was a closed-mouth smile, alien. Off. I'm the version that stayed, she said. You should have stayed, too. She turned and walked through the wall of the library. No door. Just vanished like fog. We didn't speak for a long time after that. The rest of the day was noise. Static on the diner radio. Whispers from sewer grates. Footsteps that didn't match ours. At one point, Sam played back an audio file from his recorder. It sounded normal at first, birds, us talking, footsteps. Then another voice layered under it. Don't stay out after the loop resets. That phrase became a nightmare mantra. We started noticing resets. A strange smell in the air, like burning ozone. Lights flickering in unison. Then everything snapping back, trees regrowing, signs resetting, dirt vanishing off our boots. Each reset took a little more from us. One time, we lost Marcus's backpack. Another time, Sam's journal pages went blank. Mia swore she didn't remember arriving at Bristow at all. She thought she was on a solo trip to Santa Fe. I watched her memories unravel like old VHS tape. That night, I caught sight of myself. We were walking past the diner window when I looked in and saw me, sitting inside. Not in the booth, but behind the counter, like a cook. The copy looked up, met my eyes, and mouthed something. I leaned closer. It said, "You've always been here." I ran until I couldn't breathe. Marcus, who'd barely spoken all day, cornered us around midnight. He looked haunted. "Do you want to know the worst part?" he said. "They're not just copying us. They're keeping the versions that break." "What does that mean?" I asked. He pulled up his sleeve. His tattoo was different again. This time it was a spiral. The word Bristow was written around the edge in his handwriting. I don't remember getting this, but it hurts like it's real. That night, I dreamed of a carnival. It was empty, just the sound of calliope music and rows of tents. I walked between them until I found a funhouse mirror. In the reflection, I was wearing the diner apron. I smiled. Then I stepped out of the mirror, and I watched myself walk away. Part 5. The Fragment. At some point, we stopped keeping track of time. It wasn't just a lack of clocks anymore. It was a lack of continuity. You could go to sleep at dusk and wake up in mid-afternoon, or walk through the alley by the inn and find yourself under a starless night sky. Time didn't pass. It fractured. Sam tried to explain it using physics terms none of us fully understood. Something about nonlinear time and anchored perception. But he stopped mid-sentence when he realized the words on his own notebook had started vanishing as he wrote them. We stayed inside that day. All of us, even Marcus, who'd started muttering to himself in long strings of numbers. It felt like hiding from a thunderstorm. Only the storm was everywhere and the thunder was in our heads. Then, around what we assumed was evening, a knock came at the door. 3 taps. Even. Measured. We froze. Mia slowly crept toward the door and looked through the peephole. She didn't say anything. When she opened the door, there was no one there, just a small envelope on the porch, sealed with wax. No return address. No name. Inside was a single Polaroid. It showed the 5 of us, me, Mia, Marcus, Sam, and Lauren, sitting on the inn's porch, smiling, like we had all the time in the world. Except none of us remembered that photo being taken. And Lauren. Lauren had been gone for days. On the back, someone had written, "One of you is already gone." The cracks widened after that. The buildings started to rot and repair themselves simultaneously, half-burned wood panels healing as we watched. Street signs rearranged. The school bell rang in reverse. And the reflections, God, the reflections. Any surface that could hold a reflection showed us things that hadn't happened yet, or things we were sure never had. I looked into a puddle outside the post office and saw Mia standing in the church, holding a child's hand. Sam found a mirror in the attic of the library that showed only empty streets. Marcus shattered every reflective surface in the inn and then screamed at the shards. They're watching through them, watching us watch ourselves. That's when I realized what Bristow was doing. It wasn't just copying us, it was making versions. Drafts. Experiments. Not all of them perfect. That same day, we tried to burn down the town hall. We doused the place in lamp oil scavenged from a maintenance shed and lit it with a Zippo. It went up fast. The flames were real. Hot. We watched the roof collapse. Felt the ash sting our eyes. And yet, the next morning, the town hall was back. Identical. No soot. No scorch marks. Only difference? The flag outside had changed. It was stitched from black cloth, and it waved in a wind we couldn't feel. We gave up trying to explain things after that. Mia started asking me things like, what was my dad's name? And what did we do for our first date? Simple things. Obvious things. But I couldn't remember. She cried quietly every time I hesitated. One night, I asked her, "Do you think we're still real?" She stared at the ceiling for a long time before answering. "No," she said, "but I think we're close enough." Sam began carving something into the wall of the inn with a broken fork. A spiral made of triangles and numbers. It's a way out, he muttered. A sigil. A pattern they haven't learned yet. None of us stopped him. Then, Marcus disappeared. He was with us 1 minute, watching the fire we build in the empty lot behind the inn, and gone the next. No sound. No footsteps. His mug still sat on the ground, half full. We searched everywhere. Called his name. No answer. That night, his voice came from the church bell. It's not that they erase you. They save you, bit by bit, like files. He laughed. The sound was distorted, like something pulling his words through a fan. Do you want to know the truth? We didn't. There's no real Bristow anymore. It's just fragments, reflections, all built from what we brought with us. The bell went silent. The next morning, we found a new photo under the door. This time, there were only 4 people in it. Part 6. The exit that isn't. After Marcus vanished, we stopped pretending there were rules. We still tried to survive, of course, ate what we could find, slept in shifts, avoided the church at night, but we knew Bristow wasn't a town anymore. Maybe it never was. It was an echo chamber, a reflection pool with no surface. And every time we blinked, it changed us a little more. The mornings felt longer, not time-wise, just stretched, as if the sun was dragging itself across the sky inch by inch, afraid to leave us in the dark. Mia stopped talking. She kept her journal clutched to her chest like it was her heartbeat. She wouldn't let anyone read it. Every once in a while she'd stop, tilt her head like listening to something far away, then scribble violently. Sam became obsessed with the numbers. He said they were coordinates at first, then dates, then words from a forgotten language. But I caught him whispering them like prayers. 13.9 1.31. 13.9 1.31. Exit through yourself. He told me you'd found a door. Not a real one, an exit that isn't, he called it. Said it was in the basement of the general store. Only appeared when the clock tower struck 13. The thing was, the clock tower didn't have hands. That night, we heard it chime 13 times anyway. We went to the store together. The inside was empty, shelves stripped, dust hanging in the air like snow. In the far corner, behind a sagging rack of newspapers dated from impossible years, was a staircase none of us remembered. It spiraled downward in tight, claustrophobic loops. As we descended, the walls pulsed with a faint blue glow. The steps were soft, like walking on carpet soaked in water. The air smelled like iron and lilacs. Sam led the way, muttering his sequence. At the bottom, we found it, a single black door. Featureless. No handle. No lock. Just a door. Mia pressed her palm against it. It feels warm. I didn't feel anything. Sam looked at both of us, then at the door, and said, "Only one can go." I opened my mouth to argue, but Mia had already stepped forward. She looked back at me, eyes glassy, but clear. The first time in days she didn't seem afraid. "I'm already half gone," she whispered. "Let me try." She pushed it open. What we saw was impossible. Behind the door wasn't a room. It was a view. A landscape of twisting towers and valleys of mirrors. Skies of liquid ink. Shapes moved in the distance, human only in outline. Some dragged their limbs. Others floated. We saw a million versions of ourselves, arguing, laughing, dying, walking endlessly through towns made of cardboard and memory. The sounds, our sounds, looped back in strange cadences. One voice rose above the rest. Mia's. "If you're reading this, it's already too late." She turned back to us, smiling. "Close the door," she said. Sam did. She never came back. After that, it got quieter, colder. The town dimmed, like a light bulb on its last flicker. Buildings started collapsing in slow motion, dust falling like snowflakes, walls folding inward as if ashamed. The diner disappeared one night. Not collapsed, just gone, as if it had never been there at all. Sam stopped eating, stopped blinking. One morning, I woke up and found a mirror nailed to the ceiling above his bed. His reflection wasn't in it. I tried to talk to him. He just pointed at the spiral he'd carved into the floorboards. "Find the center," he said. "That's the only direction that matters." Then he walked outside and vanished into the fog that now filled the streets like a rising tide. Now it's just me. Sometimes I think I hear them, Sam, Mia, Marcus, Lauren, just around the corner. Their footsteps, their laughter, their last words. Sometimes I see them. In windows, in reflections, in dreams. They wave. They smile. They mouth things I don't want to hear. I've stopped looking for the way out. I think Bristow was never meant to be escaped. Just entered. Once. Quietly. Like a breath. There's one last photo on the porch today. It's just me. Behind me, the town is whole again. Sunlit. Peaceful. My smile looks real. But I know it isn't. If you ever see the sign, "Welcome to Bristow. Population, infinity." Turn around. Burn the map. Forget the road. Because once you see it, it already remembers you. This story has come to an end. Ever had something like this happen to you? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next true horror story.